Okay, so hello and welcome everyone. This is Rahim Zulfiqar from Excel Basement Private Limited. This is webinar number 33 and this is related to dynamic array formulas. And today we will be discussing two very famous and awesome dynamic array functions or formulas, and that are XLOOKUP and LET. So in this webinar, I will let you with a demonstration of fundamentals first, and then we will put this fundamentals into the examples. You will get the presentation and the Excel practice file after the webinar. We will post this on our social media platforms, YouTube, and you will find the download link in the description, or you can access to our Facebook page, Excel Basement. After the session, you will find the recording and files link. So let's get starting with the dynamic array formulas, XLOOKUP and LET. If you are very new to our sessions, you know that we are having a great impact on our social media platforms. So you can join Excel Basement channel on YouTube. If you are on Facebook, you can like our page. That is again Excel Basement. We have also a group on Facebook as well, where we update latest news, tips and tricks and videos on weekly basis. Then we have also a page on Instagram. We have account on Instagram where we upload tips and tricks regarding Excel formulas and functions on weekly basis. If you can visit our website, you will find some interesting sections there. We have created a forum for the users who want to get solutions with exclusive help from the members as well. So you can join our forum, that is excelbasement.org/community forum. And if you want to read some good articles regarding Power BI, Power Platform, Excel, so you can find that on our blog as well. So that is excelbasement.org/blog. We are also providing uh, services regarding income tax return filing for the salaried individuals here in Pakistan. We also do website designing and development. We have an active team for the social media and digital marketing. We also do freelancing projects on the Power Platform applications and Excel, and these are our new introduced services. All right, so let's get started with this webinar agenda. First, we will discuss about the XLOOKUP function. We will go through with all the benefits, with all the function arguments and syntax of XLOOKUP, and then we will move towards the demonstration part, and then we will come back to the presentation and we will discuss the let function as well. So starting with the XLOOKUP function, so the first idea is, what is XLOOKUP function? We need to discuss that. So the summary is, the XLOOKUP function is a modern and flexible replacement for older functions like VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and lookup. So as an Excel user, I hope that you have already gone through and know about that, how to use VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and lookup. So definitely XLOOKUP is a best replacement for all these functions, and even index and match as well. So the XLOOKUP supports approximate match and the exact match. Also, we can use the wildcard such as asterisk and question mark for the partial matches. And XLOOKUP can work in any kind of ranges, either it's a vertical or horizontal, right? So this is the first thing or the definition about the XLOOKUP. Okay, then we will discuss about the fundamental purpose of this XLOOKUP function. It's basically find the values in a range or a table, just like the traditional functions do for us, a kind of VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP or index match. So the purpose is same. Then we have the return value. So the return value either will be exact match or the approximate match. The syntax of XLOOKUP function is defined on some of the function argument. The first one is the lookup value, then lookup array, then return array. If the value is not found, what we need to add in the not found? If you remember, if you're using VLOOKUP and if any value is not found by that function, it returns the error, right? And to cover that error, you have to apply if error function with the VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. But now in XLOOKUP, we don't need to nest the if error because now we have the additional function argument which is not found. So in case we are sure that if any of the field will be not found, instead of error, we can define our customized text in this function argument. Then we have match mode. There are three different kind of match modes in the XLOOKUP, and also the search mode. There are also different kind of search modes available in the XLOOKUP as well. So this is general syntax of XLOOKUP function. Now coming to the XLOOKUP function benefits, because it's very important to understand that instead of VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index match, why we use XLOOKUP? What are the benefits of XLOOKUP? So there are several important advantages to the VLOOKUP. The first one is that XLOOKUP can look up data uh, to the right or to the left of the lookup values. So in the VLOOKUP always searches the value from left to right, and it don't goes from right to left. So the first flexibility in the XLOOKUP is that it can work around in any kind of direction. The second benefit is that XLOOKUP can return multiple results. And I will tell you in the example that how it can return the multiple results. Then we have XLOOKUP defaults to an exact match, whereas VLOOKUP defaults to the approximate match. So if you are using the VLOOKUP, so at the end of the fourth function argument, you have two choices. Either you write true or false. And if you skip that optional argument, by default, true will be applied. But here in XLOOKUP, the default is the exact match, which is 0 or false. Then XLOOKUP can work in either vertical ranges or the horizontal ranges with respect to the data. One more benefit of the XLOOKUP is that it can perform a reverse search, last to first or first to last. That's again one more advantage added to this function. Then XLOOKUP can return entire rows or columns, not just one value. XLOOKUP can work with arrays natively applied to the complex criteria. So if we have more than one lookup value, so how we can go with that? XLOOKUP is also flexible in that case. So let's discuss some of the function argument first, and then we will go towards the demonstration with examples. So the first argument of XLOOKUP function is the lookup. So lookup is basically the lookup value is it's exactly same as in VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, right? Then we have to define the lookup array. So it can be a array, a group of cells, or a range in which we would like to search that lookup value. The third function argument is return array. So we need to select that specific range or array from which we need to get the result. Then not found function argument is always optional. So if anything which is not match, so instead of error, what we are required to give to this field. Then in the match mode, there are four options available. Okay, so 0 for the exact match. If you want to do the exact match, you will write 0. -1 for the exact match or the next smallest. Okay, +1 is for the exact match or the next larger. Now -1 and 1 definitely indicates from ascending to descending, descending to ascending, or you can say smallest to largest, largest to smallest way. So these are the two parameters. And 2 is used for the wildcard search. So as I told you that you can use the asterisk sign or the question mark for the partial matches. So for that, you have to use 2 in the match mode. Then you have one more function argument, which is called the search mode. And in search mode, you have four options available. The first one is +1. If you are searching from the first default, -1 searching from the last. So this means that you are doing a reverse search. 2 is used for the binary search ascending, and -2 is used for binary search descending. So if we further explain this kind of match type, so as I have already told you, there are four different match types. 0 by default is used for the exact match and will return NA if no match found, right? -1 will go for exact match or next smaller item. +1 will go with the exact match first or the next larger item, and 2 for the wildcards. Similarly, for the search mode, as I already covered, that there are four different kind of search mode, and that will goes with +1, -1, 2, and -2. that relates that how you want to do search. Either in reverse search, you can use -1, or if you want to find the first value, you have to apply the 1 in the search mode. So there are different kind of parameters available. Some important points while you will be applying the XLOOKUP. So the first point is that XLOOKUP can work with both vertical and horizontal arrays. XLOOKUP will return hash n/a not available error if the lookup value is not found. The lookup array must be a dimension compatible with the return array argument, and it should be equivalent sizes. Otherwise, the answer will not be correct. Number 4, if XLOOKUP is used between workbooks, both workbooks must be open. Otherwise, XLOOKUP will return reference error. So if you are looking up the values from two different workbooks, make sure that both are open together. Okay. Number 5, like the index function, XLOOKUP returns a reference as a result. So definitely it's more flexible as compared to index as well. So let's do the demonstration part, and I have some examples for you regarding the XLOOKUP, and we will see some practical scenarios, and you will understand more in detail that how XLOOKUP is being used. And I hope that all the fundamentals uh, has been covered till here regarding this function. All right, so I hope that you are able to see the Excel screen. So if you can just quick give me a confirmation in the chat window so that I can continue. Are you able to see my Excel screen here? All right, thank you, Rahul, for the confirmation. Okay, let's proceed to the XLOOKUP example within Excel with different point of views and different examples. So in the first example, we have 4 columns. Okay, the company names, their headcount, their sales, and the type of company. And we are required to, in the first situation, we are required to do the exact match with the XLOOKUP. Just we do in the VLOOKUP. So starting equals to XLOOKUP. So the first function argument is the lookup value. So our lookup value is in cell H4, comma. The next function argument is the lookup array, right? So we just need to select the names of the company, the column of the company, because the lookup value will be searched in this particular column. All right. Then the third function argument is the return array. Now, from which column you want to get the output. So we are just required to select the head count column. Okay. And we will close the bracket. So it says 50 head 4 people are working in the company Angro, and that is very right. So this is the very basic, very easy XLOOKUP utility when you want to do the exact match, right? The next situation, in the next situation, we will do lookup to the left. As we already know as an Excel user that VLOOKUP don't have this kind of functionality. It always work from left to right. They can't go from right to left. So XLOOKUP has the functionality just as the index and match function. So we can do lookup to the left, and we will also see if the value is not found, what we can do with the XLOOKUP. So let's start equals to XLOOKUP. Lookup value is in cell L4. Lookup array. So we need to select now this specific column, which is of type column. We are searching one of the type from this range, and we need to have a return array of a company name. So now as you can see here that it's more flexible as compared to the VLOOKUP, and it's just working as like if you have used index and match. So we have got our answer that type B company is THBL, right? So we have done the lookup to the left as well. But what if there is a type which does not exist here? So it gives an error #n/a. So it's kind of a same error which usually VLOOKUP gives us or index and match gives us when we don't have that particular lookup value available in the data set. So usually what we do, we nest that VLOOKUP with the if error function. But here in the XLOOKUP, we are not required to add the if error. And still we can use the function argument which is called if not found. So if the lookup value is not there, we can write our own customized text just like not available or any other thing you want. So now as you can see that the Z type is not available in the data set and it's returning our customized text which we have done. Okay. So we have defined not available and it's just working like same as the if error does for the VLOOKUP or index and match. All right. So the third situation here is that how we can do the approximate match with the XLOOKUP. So it's very simple. Equals to XLOOKUP. Now this time we have a number of units and we need to look up this number of units and we need to have a discount percentage. Okay. And we know that the number of units can be anything, any number, which is not exactly available in this units raw. So we are required here to do the approximate match here. So the lookup value is available in H14. The lookup array, definitely the range of units, which is in raw number 13 here. The return array, which is the discount range, again, that is from raw number 14. And this time, the match mode will be the approximate match. But as you can see that the data is sorted and the data is sorted from smallest to largest. So if you can see the data here, the units are being sorted smallest to largest, 10, 25, 35, and 50. So for this kind of approximate match, we will be using +1 here. Now +1 is used for the exact match or the next larger item. Okay. So I will write 1 here. And I got the discount percentage. So if I have the 11 units, I will get the 5% of discount. If I have the 10 units, for example, so definitely it will work as an exact match. But if the number is not available, for example, for the 13 units, again, 13 units come under the bracket of this 25 units, and we have done the approximate match with the help of XLOOKUP, as we do in VLOOKUP or index and match, right? Okay, so these were the 3 examples we have done so far with respect to the XLOOKUP. First, we completed the exact match. Then we completed that how the XLOOKUP can do from right to left. And if the value is not found, what we can do. And in the third example, we have done XLOOKUP with the approximate match. Okay. Moving forward, if we have a different kind of situation here, now we have a two-way lookup. So once we have a two-way lookup, then how the XLOOKUP can be utilized. So first, let's understand the data. We have some salesperson and we have product-wise sales here. And we want to find the sales of Kareem for the product 3. So this is a two-way lookup. So let's see how we can do with the help of XLOOKUP. You can also do with the index and match, where you need to apply two match within the index function, one for the rows number and one for the column number. But here in the XLOOKUP, the treatment would be different. So first we will define the lookup value, which is the product 3 lookup array. So I will just select that entire row of starting from product 1 to product 4, which is available in row number 3 here. And in the return array, I will start one more lookup because it's a two-way lookup. So the first lookup will give me the position of this raw number of product 3 of position of product 3, and then the next lookup for the salesperson. So the salesperson name is available in I3, and that particular range is from B4 to B8. And the return, what would be the return array? Definitely that would be one of the number from these range. Okay, and I will close that function. So now as you can see that salesperson Kareem, who is selling product 3, has 210. So this is how we can do a two-way lookup. Okay. And for example, if we change something from here, for example, we need to find a salesperson Ali from the product number 4. So it's 1585, right? So this is a similar kind of treatment if you know how to use the index and match, but now that has been also replaced with a XLOOKUP, where XLOOKUP is finding the raw number and the column number, and then according to that, it's giving us the return array, that particular sales number to us. All right, next example. If we have the multiple values, so whenever we have some duplications and we need to have the more than one criteria as a lookup value, then how we can do that? So if you use VLOOKUP or if you use index match, definitely there you have to create some helper columns or the extra columns where you concatenate the lookup value in a separate column, and then look up and then apply the lookup on a different table array, right? But here in the XLOOKUP, it's very flexible. So we know that we need to find the price of a t-shirt which is large in size and which is red in color. So there are three lookup values, and based on three lookup values, multiple values, we need to find that price. So starting from J3, you will add ampersand sign, then for the size, which is in I4, and then I5 for the color. So there are three lookup values. We have joined three different lookup values with the help of ampersand sign, I3, I4, and I5. And then in that lookup array, we also need to select three ranges, one from B4 to B13, ampersand sign, then the size range from C4 to C13, and then the color range. And after that, we need to define the return array, which is the third function argument. Definitely we need the price. And when I close the bracket, so now as you can see that 210 is the price of a t-shirt which is large and that is in red color, right? So our answers are matching. So this is how, when you have the multiple values as a lookup, so you can very easily use XLOOKUP rather than calculating different kind of calculation in the extra columns. All right. So these were the examples, and we have discussed all the fundamentals related to the XLOOKUP. Now we will go for the let function, that how the let function can be used. So let me change the screen again. Okay. So now we will discuss about how to utilize the let function in a fundamental way first, and then we will put this into an example. So the let function makes it easier to write certain complex formulas by making it possible to declare and assign values variables inside a formula. So let function gives you a flexibility rather than going for a very complex and bigger formulas, and that definitely consumes a lot of memory of your spreadsheets. You can declare and assign values to the variables inside that formula, and that's very fantastic. With respect to the speed, let function gives you a flexibility, and also it's a new kind of writing style of how the modern Excel users are approaching to the Excel. Let's understand the fundamental first. Let's understand that what kind of function arguments are available in the let function and how we can utilize it. So the purpose of the let function is to assign variables inside a formula. Okay, the purpose is to assign variables, and within the variables you can also create some logics. You can also nest different functions as well. Return value, normula, formula, result. Definitely the formula in the calculation we will define, that will gives us a result. Okay, so definitely we will get a result from that. The syntax of let function is, first we have to define the name of that variable, and then the purpose, and then the calculation we want to do. And similarly, there are more than 126 variables we can define within the let function. So the first argument, which is the name one, is the first name to assign, must begin with a letter. Remember that these are the rules in order to utilize the let function. Value one, it could be a value, it could be any number, or it could be any calculation assigned to the name one. Okay. Then again, more, we can assign more than one variable. So we have a capacity of 126. So again, that goes similar. We can assign the name of the value or the variable as a second name. And then these kind of pair of arguments go on. And last but not the least, we have to also define the calculation using the assigned names and values. So this is the example. Let's say the first example is very basic. Equals to let. First, we have defined the name, which is x, and then the value assigned to it. So we have defined the value to x is 1. And when in the calculation, if I perform x plus 1, so it will give the answer of 2. Because already x has been assigned a value of 1, and 1 plus 1 will be 2. You can also go with the more than one variable, as I told you. So in the let function, if you define a variable x and assign value 1, next one more variable, which is y, and you have also assigned the similar value, and then you are adding two variables together in the calculations. So x plus y definitely will be 2 as an output. This will be the result, right? Now this is very basic fundamental, but when we will be executing in the examples, you will understand more easily. So what are the benefits of let function gives us? So first thing is that it improves the performance. If you write the same expression multiple times in a formula, Excel calculate that result multiple times. But when you do it in the let function, it allows the expression by name, and for Excel, it will calculate only once. That's the first major benefit. The second benefit is that it's very easy in reading and composition. If you use let function with a practical scenario, so you don't have to remember the name ranges or cell reference, what you are referring to, or you are copying and pasting from the same expression. So it's more flexible and meaningful in terms of context to yourself and the consumers of the formula. Okay. So let's go to the demonstration part, and I will show you how the let function can be utilized in a better way. All right. So I hope that now you can see the Excel screen where we will be discussing about the let function. So as I told you, as a very fundamental part, if you start writing let, okay, and remember that these are all dynamic array formulas, and there are more than 10 dynamic array formulas has been available by the Microsoft. If you are using the Office 365 subscription account or the latest version, so you will get that Excel 365. In the older versions, you will not find Excel dynamic array formulas. Okay, so do check after the webinar if you have the modern Excel or the subscribed version. So equals to let. Now the first name one, which is the variable. For example, if I define a variable x with the 1 and then y with a 2. So in the calculation, if I put x plus y, so definitely it will give me answer 3. So that's the very basic example that how you define variable names and then you put the values in it, or you can add more functions to it as well. Okay. Now there is one example. Let me just make it a more zoom. So there is one example here. So we have different kind of brands, and according to that, there are different kind of sales done by the different brands. Okay. And if we don't use the let function, and if we want to apply some percentages with regarding to journal sale tax or any other thing, so before let, how we gonna write this kind of situation? So we start with an if function, then we say if function, then sum the range of J4 to J11 if this is greater than 50. So if you know, as a very basic Excel user, if function has 3 arguments: logical test, value of true, and value of false. And if we want to first identify that all the brands total must be more than 50. So if this logical condition is true, So sum the numbers and apply 1.05. If the condition is not met, again sum the numbers and apply 0.97. So in this scenario, what happens actually, the sum function is being run by 3 times by the Excel, which definitely makes a very kind of a load on the system as well and on the application as well. But if we put this similar kind of utility in the let function, that becomes very easy. So in the let function, we have defined that first we have given the name of the variables. For example, these are the sales for the current year. And we say that this variable will be enclosed with a sum of a range. And then within the let function, we have defined the if function. So now here you can see that we have used sales cy, which is the variable, rather than applying the sum function 3 times. We have now created that sum range to a variable within the let function, and now we can easily utilize it. So it, with respect to the calculation speeds, it's very smart. Okay, let me give you one more example. Now in this example, we are required to create a dynamic aggregation, and we will use the let function and also some other function as well, such as choose and subtotal. So I hope you understand how to utilize choose function in Excel or the subtotal function in Excel. So what we are required to do is I will create 4 different option buttons here. And whenever I click on any of the option button, that aggregation result will come up with the help of let function, and it will be dynamic. So for example, if I have 4 buttons here and one is for total, one is for maximum, one is for minimum. So whenever I click on any kind of aggregation name, from the sales column, it will give me a different kind of number. And that will be dynamically with the help of let function. So let's see how we can do that. So first we need 4 option buttons here. So for that, we will go to the developer tab. I will click on insert, and then I will click on form controls, and here you have that particular option button available. So I will quickly create that option button. I will copy and paste this option button on my spreadsheet, Control C, Control V. So we need 4 option buttons. In your scenario, it could be different. If you want to go with 2 aggregations, so you will insert 2 option buttons. If you want to go for more than that, you have to insert more option buttons. So we will quickly rename these option buttons. It's very easy. Simply you will have to right click on this option button, and in this contextual menu you will find edit text. So from here I will rename this as a total. Next option button, this will be renamed as max. Then third option button will be as minimum, and the fourth option button could be, for example, as an average. So whenever I click on max, automatically I will design a formula here which will give me the maximum number from this sales column. Whenever I will click on minimum, automatically the formula will give me a minimum number out of these sales number. Average will definitely make all these numbers total and then divide by that number of sales transactions. So that will be average, and total will definitely the normal sum. So now how I can use the let function in order to create the dynamic aggregation? And that's very simple. Let's come to the second step. The second step is that you need to connect this option button with a helper cell or a blank cell. And that's very easy. You have to right click. You will find the last option, which is called format control. And then in the format control, there is a cell link field available. So you have to link this with your spreadsheet cell. And now you can see that whenever you click on any of the option button, a number is being generated in this cell. Okay. So let me make it more meaningful. Let me add one more box, and I will enclose that 4 different aggregation in that box. So let me make it proper align. Okay, so for having that box, I will go to the developer tab, and here I will add the group box, and I will draw that group box, and I will rename that group box as display. All right, so now this group box is being ready. Yes. So let's create a logic here. Equals to let. Okay, now the first variable name. So I will press Alt Enter key, so that whatever I am creating here should be neat and clean, and you can understand that how these variables will work in the let function. So first I will give a range a name. For example, I have given a variable name as a range, comma, and within that range, what I need to select? I need to select that entire range of sales that is from R7 to R17. So anytime in future, if I want to call this range, I will not select this relative reference. I will just call with a name which is already defined as a variable in the let function. Okay. The next will be the select option, and the next variable name is the select, and this select carry a number which will be present in U4. Now understand this, how this select U4 will work. Every time when you click on any of the option button, every time when you click any of the option button here, this number will change, right? And we will use this utility in the choose function, and then that choose function will connect to the subtotal in order to give us the aggregation of that particular name when we select that from the buttons. So the select, we have defined a second variable which is called select, which is the U4, and how this number is changed, because we click on any of the option button, that number will change. The third line is the name of the third variable name. So I will give a variable name which is calculation short form, which is calc. You can give any name to the variable. Now for this example, I'm giving the names differently. So it's a name calc, which refers to the calculation. And what we need to do, we need to add the choose function, and the choose function first function argument is the index number. Now the index number will always be a positive number. And how that positive number will come, from where it will come? It will come from a variable which is called select. So as soon as I write SE, the IntelliSense of Excel is available here, and you can see there is a small X written here. And as we have defined a variable within the let function, so now it's also added in IntelliSense here. So we will add this word select, which will definitely returns a number every time, a positive number when we click on any of the option button. And within that choose function, what we need to define in value 1, 2, 3, 4, we need to define some numbers here, which is 9, 4, 5, 1. Now what are these 9, 4, 5, 1? Basically, this choose function will connect as an ultimate calculation from the subtotal function. And as an Excel user, if you understand the subtotal function has more than 11 built-in functions available. So in the subtotal function, if you want to calculate sum, you use 9 there. In the subtotal function, if you want to calculate average, you use 1 in the subtotal, right? So basically this 9, 4, 5, 1 represents total, max, min, average with respect to the subtotal. And how we can define here. So I will use subtotal as a, now the end part of this let function will be the calculation, to fill the calculation function argument. So I have wrote here subtotal function number. So the first function argument of subtotal is the function number. Now how it will come, from where it will come? It will come from the calc variable, and definitely whatever the number here present, which will be definitely changed when I click on any of the option button, which range to be add in that calculation. So I have already made a variable which is called range. So now you can see that this is giving me 1200. When I click on max, 167. When I click on minimum, it's 50. When I want average, it's giving me an average. So this is how we have created the dynamic aggregation based on the let function, in which we have taken the help of some various functions and we have created variables, different variables, and we have utilized them. Okay. The next part would be that how I can create a dynamic heading as well. So for creating a dynamic heading, you can use the choose function. So index number will come from U4. So whenever the first option button is selected, you need a title which is called total. When second option button selected, you need maximum word. For the third option button, you need minimum word, and the fourth option button, you need an average word. That would be nest with an ampersand sign and then space sales. So every time when I now click on any of the aggregation, so maximum sales 167. When I click on minimum, minimum sales 50, average. So average sales 109. So now you can see this powerful let function in one of the example, that how it's being utilized with the help of assigning different variables. And this is fast and flexible and a lot of advantages. So in there are a lot of cases when you do the taxation calculation, you can use there as well. Okay. So this is how we have created the dynamic aggregation with the help of let function. And more than that, if you go beyond that, so you can use more dynamic array formulas, just like sequence, filter, okay, and the let as well. So this is how in this example we have the start date and the end date, and that's draw the dates from this range. So it's coming up with not with just with the let function, but also the sequence and the filter as well. So I hope that you have learned a lot from this webinar. We have discussed the XLOOKUP different scenarios. We have also gone through the let, and we have explored one of the very dynamic situation here in the let function. So as a Excel user, now the Excel is being changing very fast, and there are more functions coming up. So I hope that you like this webinar, and the recording and the download files will be available on our YouTube channel. You can download that in the description part. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in the next coming week with the different topics.